Hey, good evening. How's it going on this cold Wednesday evening? Uh, it's the 10th. Man, 21 more days and we will be out of this winter. Wow, that's crazy. Um, hmm, interesting. Wait a minute. Not out of this winter, out of this year. My mistake. Sometimes get a little goofy in the head, but be out of this year in 21 more days, not the winter. I only wish, you know, I'm trying to rush it, of course, as usual, trying to rush it. That's what I get. Um, you all will pardon me if I look preoccupied. They have redesigned the studio. So I am winging it because I'm not used to how this is set up. This is my first time seeing it when I logged in today. So, hey, what's going on, Charles? What's happening? How you doing? Um, it seems to be speeded up. They must have made some kind of new developments because it's the whole setup is different. And you don't get an email or nothing saying, "Hey, we're changing how the platform looks. We're redesigning everything." You just gotta go in regularly and um, yeah, thumb around and see what's gonna be new. And me, uh, I don't have the time to do it, so I get blindsided with stuff like this. So, one of the new things that just happened before coming on, one of the new crazy events going on, I guess we're commandeering oil tankers now. In the news, we just commandeered an entire oil tanker. And I heard a reporter ask Trump, um, he asked Trump, what do you do with the oil? What's going to happen with the oil? And Trump said, I guess we keep it. Now, this is about to get sticky. This is about to get really sticky. I don't know a whole lot of info on it. I just thought I'd mention it. We have taken a Venezuelan oil tanker out in the ocean. And I guess we're going to see where that goes from there. Okay? So, stay tuned. Um, it's it's still somebody's oil. Yeah, yeah. It's whoever the tanker belongs to. I guess it's a Venezuelan tanker, and I guess it belongs to Venezuela. This guy has his mind made up that he's going to go after Venezuela by hook or by crook. So now we're on the hook for, not only are we on the hook for murder, but we're on the hook for piracy as well. That is an act of piracy. Um, I'm thinking, I'm no legal scholar, but when you take somebody's shit that you're not at war with, we are not at war with Venezuela. You can't go out in the international waters and take somebody else's shit, no matter what. Now, check this out. They're going to say this is an illegal oil transaction because I think they said this tanker was bound for Cuba. Well, we are not the ocean's policemen, okay? We can't intercept an illegal oil shipment between Venezuela and Cuba. That is not our job or role on this planet. So anyway, I guess we'll be seeing what we'll see what happens. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. I don't know where they're getting this from. This idea that they can go out and do this shit. I guess we'll find out. I guess we'll find out. By the way, they also passed a defense bill today. There is a funding bill that is for funding troop raises and other stuff like that. And that passed the House, I think, today. And I think attached to that bill was that in order to get that money, they have to release the videos of all of the strikes that they've made out in the water. And yeah, he seems to be trying to start a war. That's absolutely what it seems to be. What seems to be happening. Um, I don't get it. I don't understand. Well, one thing I do understand, and that is the people that support him, they don't pay what he's doing any attention. The people that support him don't pay what he's doing any attention. He can get up there at a rally. He was just at a rally yesterday in Pennsylvania, where he's saying all manner of foul shit. All manner of foul shit. And they're just clapping and laughing. I mean, he's saying as much racist shit as he could say. And they're laughing and clapping and hootenannying and having a good old time. And they leave there and never watch what he does. Because he spent all that time rallying them to support whatever he does. So they don't look at what he does. Right now, they're listening to Fox News and Newsmax tell them why it's okay for him to be doing what he's doing. Don't worry about it. What he's doing is perfectly legal. Don't worry about it. On all of the news networks that support Trump's administration, they spend all day telling their viewers how wonderful he is and what he's doing is okay. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's okay. This is going to have some interesting consequences somewhere down the line because I also read where he's contacted the International Criminal Court system. And apparently they seem to be worried that there's going to be some warrants issued. They seem to be worried that there seems to be going to have some investigations going on and or warrants issued, and they seem to be worried about that. Now, that might be something you would worry about before you start all this shit you're doing, but we'll see. These are not the smartest people in the world. So, we'll find out. So, we'll find out. Anyway, I also have another word for the Somalis that are out there saying that they're not black. I had no idea that the Somalis in this country who've come here from Somalia, which is on the African continent, I had no idea that they spend a lot of time on social media claiming to not be black claiming to be Arabic or something, claiming that they're completely different from us, just and you know, look at my skin and look at their skin, we're completely different. They seem to have come here and are trying to assimilate with white folks. Well, for you, I only got a few things to say. Well, I'll let the other folks say it for me.
You regret your vote for President Trump?
We don't want him in our country. We're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country.
Salman Fiki, he was at this July 2024 rally in St. Cloud, Minnesota. You can see him at this event with Minnesota Somali leaders giving their endorsement in November of last year. You posted on social media, I, Salman Fiki, am formally announcing that I'm ending all collaboration with the Republican Party.
It was very dehumanizing and is very unpresidential coming.
So Somalians have been under attack since Donny T said what he said about them, calling them garbage and that they need to go back to Somalia. Somalia is a crappy country and all this sort of trash that he was saying. And, you know, some people have been DMing me this stuff and saying that, oh, because I'm an Africa-centric platform, I should be talking about this and defending Somalia and so on and so forth. Do you realize how many videos I have seen online of Somalians saying that, A, they are not black, and 2, they are not Africans? Like they have more, they're part of the Arab world, I don't even know what these guys have been talking about. The number of videos, there are so many of these videos on the internet and on social media that all you need to do is type in Somali not black. And you just get a whole, because it's that common that you see these videos. When it comes to Pan-Africanism, these guys are never really engaging in these conversations. So when I heard that there was a Somalis for Trump movement, I wasn't even surprised. The fact that this thing has now turned around to become what it has become now for these folks, I don't even know what to tell you. This guy is only sad and he's only denouncing the Republican Party and Donny T because he came after them. He didn't have any issue when this guy was coming after Nigeria, when he was going after Africa, when he was going after Latinos. When he was going after it, he had no problem. They had no problem with that. The issue you now have, he's suddenly become unpresidential because he came after Somalians. That is the reason why a lot of Africans aren't even saying anything, because they're just like, oh, okay. This is your guy. You voted for him and you did rallies for him, supported the man, put him in the White House. There is nothing Donny T is doing that he didn't tell you he was going to do before he got into office. He let you know. So this should not be a surprise. Somalia, man, listen, I need some Somalian content creators to come and deal with this situation because I actually don't have anything to say. I really don't.
Let me say this with love, but with truth, because some of our Somali brothers and sisters forgot who made them and aligned themselves with someone who despises what God designed. Many of them campaigned for the same man who called them garbage. Many of them voted for him. Many of them celebrated him. Many of them sat idly by while he was deporting brown people from other countries, hoping proximity to power would earn them some protection. But see, fearfully made people should know better than to trust a man who fears their very existence. And this is where we've got to challenge the painful divide between African immigrants and African Americans that are born here. Because sometimes our brothers and sisters come to America and try to distance themselves from black folk that are already here. They get here and say, I know black. But your black behind found out this week that you was black. Amen, somebody. Thinking whiteness will treat them differently. But watch this. Racism doesn't check your passport to see what country you come from. It doesn't ask what part of the globe you come from. Racism doesn't inquire about your tribe, about your clan, about your lineage. Racism sees melanin. It sees Africa. Racism sees your blackness. And when he opened his mouth and said garbage, he wasn't sorting through categories. He meant all of us. Come on, somebody. And here's to my black American friends who said, we're going to sit this one out because y'all voted for Trump. Amen. I get where you're coming from, but understand that though he said Somalis were garbage, he meant all y'all niggas is garbage. Can I help y'all? I'm telling you what he won't say. That's what he meant. Look at somebody and say, that's what he meant.
Absolutely. 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 The man meant every one of us. When he say garbage, he means every last one of us. Okay? Now, understand this. Now, here's the killer. Get this. Here's the killer. Didn't we hear them call the Puerto Ricans garbage? Didn't we hear him talk about how Puerto Rico was a garbage island? The Venezuelans. How they treat the Venezuelans? All them Venezuelans and Cubans down in Florida dancing and singing, we will vote for Donald Trump. The Puerto Ricans, they literally went into Madison Square Garden in the biggest racist rally that they had that year in Madison Square Garden and got on stage and called the Puerto Ricans garbage. This is not a fluke. This is not a misunderstanding, okay? These people are telling the entire world how they feel about anybody that is not white. Okay, if you're not white, now, you real light-skinned Latinos running around that's got your MAGA hat on, you garbage, okay? Understand that shit. You are who he's talking about when he says garbage. Because your skin is nice and light, they know it ain't white, okay? They know it ain't white. See, they feel like this about anybody that is not white. See, lots of the Asians don't say nothing. The Asians like to be nice and quiet. You notice that about the Asians? The Asians are really nice and quiet. The Asian people, they keep to themselves, nice and quiet demeanor, don't come out, we ain't really political, you know. They like to be nice and under the radar. Guess what? You garbage. Okay? You Korean, you Japanese, you Chinese, Taiwan, you Thai, you garbage. They talking about you too. See, the civil rights movement in this country was about Asians too. You better ask somebody. See, they don't seem to get it. See, they don't seem to understand that haven't seen some women, man, they have blonde. Yeah. Oh, we got all colors walking around in blonde. Everybody want to be a blonde. I was told once that blondes have more fun. I was also told blondes was the dumbest motherfuckers walking the planet. So, every funny thing, every person that was not white that wore blonde that I knew said blondes have more fun. Every white person that I knew or know says blondes are the dumbest motherfuckers there are. So, hey, just going by what I hear. But the point is, all of these nationalities come to this country. They come right here to this country. And they want to be not white. They want to be not white. They want to assimilate into the white neighborhoods, because in this country, white is associated with the power structure of this country. We all understand that. Okay, that's some ABC 1, 2, 3 shit. Whiteness is associated with the power structure of this country. So, to come here from another country, you want to associate with the power structure. The problem is, you turning your back on who you are is not going to do you any good. They still view you as who you are. Okay? They still view you as who you are. You can't escape that. Ask Sammy Sosa. Anyway. I had no idea though that you literally that the Somalis or Somalians. I had no idea. I've never heard this. I don't know any Somalis, and I don't spend any time looking at what's going on in Minnesota or other areas, because in Indianapolis there are a lot of Africans. I think a lot of those are Nigerians in Indianapolis, I think. But I meet a lot of Nigerians in my travels, and they seem to understand that they're black. A lot of times they will say they didn't know they was black until they got here. And I understand that, coming from a predominantly black country. You wouldn't consider yourself black. People in Africa walking around don't consider themselves black. Okay, that's not a natural thing. For those that don't know, being black in Africa, you don't know you're black in Africa because you don't walk around looking at each other saying we're black people. That's not how it goes in Africa. You find out you black once you leave Africa and go to another country and find out how people are going to treat you because of the color of your skin. When somebody says to you, you're black, that's when you find out you're black. Okay. Now, so I give the Somalis that. I give them that. A lot of them are just finding out that they're black because they got here. See, in Somalia, they're not black because everybody's black in Somalia. So you don't walk around saying you black. But trust me, you're going to find out being here. Now, the problem with them is they got here and they let them people tell them, don't you go associate with them. Them some low down, no good, no working, lazy kids all across town fathering, no good for knots. So don't associate with them. Y'all just get y'all little community over here and have y'all little community. Because the last thing anybody wants is blacks to come together, especially blacks from other nations. Let's talk about the Mexicans, for instance. In Mexico, there are people dark as me who are just Mexicans with this complexion. See, half of Mexico has this complexion. But guess what? They're treated fucked up by the light-skinned Mexicans. Because the Mexicans, when the Europeans got there, you know what the Europeans done? They told the light-skinned ones that they was better than the dark-skinned ones. And that has transpired to today. Today, the light-skinned Mexicans treat the dark-skinned Mexicans fucked up. Because they think they can associate with the power structure. I know a couple of Mexicans that I know a father and a son and another one, and you would not believe how they think they're white, how they assimilate white, how everything they do is to assimilate white. You would not believe it. It's the way it is. The problem is we have some fault in it too. You see, we don't call them together and say, hey, let's talk. The one thing none of us get together and do is talk. We should get together with the black Mexicans, the dark-skinned Mexicans, the dark-skinned Puerto Ricans, the dark-skinned, all of the Africans. We should be able to get together with the Africans and say, hey, let's talk. They could probably teach us a lesson or two about family. We here in America, we blacks here in America, could learn a lesson or two about family and respect. We need a few lessons. We need to get together with them. Hey, there's an idea. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to put a pin in that. Wonder if there's Somalis or Somalians here in this area. Never even thought about it. Put a pin in that. Give that one some thought. Do some research. But maybe we would benefit from getting together with some of these dark-skinned folks and talking and trying to get some kind of understanding. Hey, what's up? What's up, James? Maybe we'll benefit from that. I think I mentioned that before. I'm gonna have to think about that some. That makes a lot of sense. How's it going, James? Just sitting here talking about them Somalians again. Because apparently that is a thing amongst them, telling people they're not black. Apparently that is pretty prevalent all over social media, that they spend a lot of time telling folks they're not black, And I bet, and as it's turning out here over the last week, they're finding out that yes, indeed, you are black. Yes, indeedy duty. Anyway, excuse me. I didn't actually intend to spend this much time on them Somalians. It just turned out that way today. It's funny though. It is funny that they've chosen this route. I think I'm going to do a little research, though, to see if I can find out if there's any in this area. I'm curious to know if there's any in this area. Yeah, Charles, I think we should start talking to some, when we see him on the streets or something, because I, for one, am guilty. I see someone, and you can almost tell when someone is maybe of foreign descent, or of African descent. You can always almost tell. So, and I'm not going to go into that. I think I'm going to start approaching just to find out, because we pretty standoffish ourselves. Okay, so that's why I assigned some of that blame to us. We need to take responsibility for some of that blame because we don't reach out. We don't reach out worth a fuck. We don't see him and say, hey, how you doing? Where you from? My name is this. How are you? We don't do any of that. So, I think I'm going to take a cue from myself on this one. There is an interface change on YouTube, just so you know. I just said it a while ago. It's completely different what I'm looking at. It's really sharp and beautiful, and it's a little more responsive. It's going to be interesting because I got to figure out my way around it now. So bear with me if something goes different. So far, so good, though. It's looking good. Anyway, you know what? Moving along, I'm going to move away from the Somalians. I was asked a question. I was asked, do I carry a weapon when I'm out and about? I was asked that question. Do I carry a weapon when I'm out and about? Well, this is the only way I can answer that question.
Weapons in your vehicle?
Oh, yes, honey. I have a .357 under the seat, a Glock in the glove box, an AR-15 in the trunk, and a 9mm in my boot.
Jesus, man. What are you so afraid of?
Not a motherfucking thing.
That's the only way I can answer that. So, I hope that answers that question. Now, moving right along, there was something else that has gone on that bears mentioning, and that is Tyson Foods is shutting a plant down up in Nebraska. And a packer up in Nebraska and it's about to disrupt some shit. Okay? It's about to disrupt some shit up there in Nebraska. Check this out.
The news of a major Tyson Foods plant shutting down tore the heart from one Nebraska community, but the impacts stretch statewide. Thanks for joining us. I'm Rob McCartney.
I'm Julie Cornell. We were in Lexington last week talking with people impacted, but it also comes as a shakeup to agriculture and meat packing across the state.
KTV News Watch 7 Capitol Bureau Chief John Grinvold has this report.
They feel like their life is over.
Last week, Lexington was a community left drifting.
Some of our concerns are
grasping for solutions as Tyson announced a major plant closure.
Half of our kids have parents that work at the plant,
So it's a huge deal.
But the fallout will reach far beyond Lexington and hit the beef industry especially hard, according to Nebraska ag leaders.
It's just not the closing of a plant. It's closing of that whole economy that goes around that.
The closure, set for January, won't just affect the 3,200 workers inside the plant. Truckers and producers weave their way onto the compound with their roughly 4,000 heads of cattle a day.
Those cattle have to go somewhere. It's really the center of the cattle feeding industry up here in Nebraska. There's been more growth around this plant within the 200 miles.
There are other plants in Nebraska, like in Grand Island, North Platte, Schuyler, and Omaha. But whether they can pick up the slack is an open question.
It's a logistics nightmare. You have to now add that time. These trucks are going to have to go farther, right? So you really need more trucks on the road, which then you need more truck drivers.
One cause for the catastrophe. The American Farm Bureau says the national cattle herd is at its smallest in 73 years, down to 87 million from 94 million just a few years ago, putting a strain on packers who process fewer heads a day.
I do believe the herd will grow. It's just going to be at a slower pace.
But then there will be fewer packers, fueling more economic uncertainty down the line.
The pinch point, my gut says we're going to have in a couple of years if we don't get a plant like Lexington retooled.
Reporting for KATV News Watch 7, I'm John Grunwald.
So, for those that don't know, Nebraska is already damn near bankrupt. Nebraska is hurting so bad. Nebraska is hurting so bad already that it's going to be jacked up. And the thing that just make you scratch your head, you want to scratch your head because guess what? They're going to keep voting Republican. They're going to keep voting Republican. We're going to talk about a few things tonight, if I can. They're going to keep voting Republican. Trump is killing their ass. Trump's economic policies is tearing their ass apart. And they're going to do everything except blame Trump. Now, I had a conversation with somebody about why this is. And I'm going to get into that a little bit. Especially with the farmers and the cattle people. They know that these economic policies that this administration has got going is ripping their guts out. But they'll go on TV and they will say every day, well, I know the president is trying to do what's best for America. No, the fuck he ain't. He's doing what's best for Trump. And they know it, but they can't say it. Because to say it will be an admission that you one dumb motherfucker and you voted for him again after he fucked you the first time. So you can't say it. If you say it, you're going to have to go back in the South 40 and eat a bullet. Like some of your neighbors did. See, some of your neighbors realized it. They realized, damn, I let him fool me again. And they went out on their South 40 and ate a bullet. And so many of them, they understand. They already know in their mind, I can't say it. I can't admit none of this. Because I'm going to have to go eat a bullet if I do. Because they're going to call me dumb as fuck. Okay? Folks is going to look at me and call me stupid as hell. They're going to call me a zombie. And I can't take it. So I got to keep saying, I believe he's trying to do what's best. He's trying to do what's best for us. He's trying. No, he's not. No, he's not. He ain't trying to do a damn thing for you. Not a thing. He doesn't care one thing at all about these folks. Not one bit. Not one bit. And, you know, hey. What can I tell you? What can I tell you? I tell you, even here, even across here in Indiana, in Georgia, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. They're steady voting. They steady voting. And across this state right here, the Republicans in this state is just doing all sorts of making all kinds of deals with the billionaires. They making all sorts of backroom deals. Even with the announcement with the Warner Brothers takeover. Even with that, they're trying to make deals where they're going to control everything, every bit of information that we see. Let's take the Warner deal just right quick. Netflix wanted to buy Warner. Now, Warner owns CNN and all of that. Netflix wanted to control that. Guess who said, nah. Nah, we want to own that. Skydance. I believe the name of it is Skydance. That's the company that just bought CBS and all of that. Paramount, CBS. That's the company run by the Ellisons. The Ellisons, who are the super billionaires, the father and son, Larry Ellison and his son. Also, in that group that wants to take over Warner, guess who? The Trumps. The Trump family is also part of that Skydance group that took over CBS and is trying to get Warner, along with the Saudis and Qatar. Okay? And in a day or so, somebody's going to be asking Trump, is he's going to be involved in it in any way? He's already said the Netflix deal is going to be a problem. And I didn't get it. Why is the Netflix deal a problem when Skydance's deal wasn't a problem? Oh. It's a problem because you part of the group that wants to buy it. They're only out for themselves. Okay, check this out.
Suppose Netflix takeover of Warner Brothers would be a disaster for consumers. The price you pay for streaming services would go way up. It would be a disaster for the entertainment industry because you have this giant, big production monopoly. It'd close lots of movie theaters in your community. It's just a terrible, classic, illegal deal under America's antitrust laws. Paramount has swooped in to make a competing offer, but it's not just Paramount. It's Paramount, the Trump family, And the governments of Saudi Arabia and Qatar are now trying to buy Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers includes CNN. And so what we're talking about now is the Trump family allied with petro-dictatorships in the Middle East getting control of one of the country's biggest media companies, including CNN. This is terrible for consumers. It's awful for democracy. And this needs to be a red alert moment. They're not trying to hide the corruption any longer. Democracies die when the regime co-ops or gets control of major media properties. That is what is going on right now. Donald Trump has said publicly that he's going to be personally involved in the decision as to which one of these companies gets to take over Warner Brothers. Neither of these deals should go through. But if Donald Trump is involved, of course he is going to favor the deal that results in CNN being under the control of his family. Guys, this is bananas. And everybody in Washington, frankly, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, should be vehemently opposed to this deal.
Now, could you understand what that would mean? Okay, Jeff Bezos bought the Washington Post. The Ellisons bought Paramount. These billionaires and the Saudis and Qatar, they want to own everything. They've taken over U.S. sports, okay? U.S. sports is now Saudi and Qatar and United Arab Emirates sports. It's not American sports anymore. You notice all of these international games that the NFL is starting to play. You notice that? You know how they took golf over, and they're taking over soccer and hockey. Yeah, they're taking over everything. Okay? They're taking over everything. So, understand, this is about Trump and his family, the billionaires across this country. Across this country. So it's not just the farmers that are getting their ass kicked. It's everyone else that's voting for this jackass getting their ass kicked. Now, once these people control all the media, there's going to be a question asked, and that is, how are we going to know when somebody's telling the truth? And Neil deGrasse Tyson came up with some answers to that. And I don't know if I even pronounced his name right. But he came up with he's got some methods for finding out what the truth is. And some of these methods I already do. Understand something. You're about to experience a situation where you cannot turn on the news anymore to get some relatively honest news. These people are taking over the networks in order to dictate what comes out of that network. Just today, they're breaking up that CBS team that's in the morning. I used to like the CBS News in the morning team. Used to like it. Don't watch it now because now they've been handcuffed by Paramount. Everything coming out jacked up. You know, everything coming out is make sure you tiptoe around this administration. Don't say nothing bad about this administration. Oh, don't say nothing bad about them. Oh, no. So, but Mr. Tyson has a few things, a few methods that he uses to find out how to get to the truth. Because we're going to have to start digging for the truth. We're going to have to start doing some legwork. We're going to have to start reading We're going to have to start digging because the truth is not going to be on the surface anymore. The truth is going to be hidden down deep from us. Now, if you get your entertainment from Warner and CBS and all of that, Netflix, oh well. But when I'm talking about news, and when I say news, I mean real news and real journalism that is honest and forthcoming. You're going to have to start digging. You're going to have to start talking to people that you know and digging and doing some real research because the truth ain't going to be on the surface anymore. So let's listen to what Mr. Tyson has to offer.
Been thinking a lot lately as an educator and especially as a scientist. When you search online for answers and knowledge, wisdom and insight, what do you trust? How do you trust it? What is involved to decide whether something is true or not true? And it's not easy at all. I know a lot about a lot of stuff, but when I look things up that I don't know, it's like, this doesn't seem to feel right. There's something odd about it. Let me keep checking. But let me first off the top say, so many people are now using some variant of AI to answer their questions that they might have. When I search things where I fully know the answer, AI gets it right 85% of the time. 15% of the time, it's flat out wrong or didn't fully understand what's going on. Of course, large language models they don't think, really. They're just assembling words that have appeared next to other words that various people have written and posted on the internet. And so there's no guarantee that what people have posted is correct. What I encourage people to do is don't trust what the large language model AI is giving you. If it's worth its weight in salt, it'll give links to where it got that information. Just like the old days, when you did a search, you'd have a list of websites, and then you would click on the websites and assemble your own answer, which is what AI is doing for you now. So I don't rely on AI, just based on the errors I know it makes when I already know the answer to something. So what is objectively true really matters to everything I do, say, and think, and produce. And so I check things, double check them, triple check them, verify if my bias is influencing what I'm finding. Am I just choosing what I like versus what I don't like? All of that matters, which is why finding the truth is a hard thing. So in my experience, extracting that which is objectively true from the internet, I have found that websites that are .edu, which is typically a university or otherwise educational institution, that you are more likely to get correct information. So if it's not from those, I would put up a yellow flag. How about somebody's online and they're defending the actions of an industry in which they work? Yellow flag. Not a red flag. There are people who will just discount it just because the person's paid by the industry. They could be telling you the truth. So it's a yellow flag. It means whatever they tell you, listen with caution, because they have a vested financial interest in having their view match that of the industry. So what's an example of this? We went through decades with the tobacco industry telling us there was nothing wrong with tobacco. Meanwhile, other sources of information said that there was. The industry is not always lying to you. You put up a yellow flag and then you look deeper to verify it or falsify it.
Okay. I'm going to cut that right there because he goes into some more examples, and I'm going to bring back some more examples Monday. Also, I'm going to take up where I left off on this conversation Monday with everything that's going across the country right now with this administration's policies and the Republicans in all of the states' policies. See, the problem we got is more than this administration. We have Republicans who vote for these jackasses in the states, like Nebraska. Nebraska is literally on the verge of bankruptcy. This state is literally on the verge of collapse. And they keep voting Republican. Right here in Indiana and in Georgia. Although a couple of elections here recently, it was an election the other day. And a Democrat flipped a Republican district. So, in their state house. Maybe the people in Georgia are starting to learn. Maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene, maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene might be done, lit something down there. But I know here in Indiana, not so much. Not so much. I'm going to take up right here next week, okay? Because I could go on for another hour with what I got on my mind. And rather than try and hold you down for another hour, I'm going to let y'all get off of here. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me this far. Just expect more of what you just heard Monday. And some more examples from Mr. Tyson. Because he's got some good examples of how to find the truth. Just like, and I agree with what he said, the winds of change on the horizon. Hey, let's hope so. I certainly hope so. Check this out. If that's the case, hallelujah. That's the case. But remember two things that he said, okay? One is when you're looking up information, when you're looking for the truth, and you want to go on the internet to find a source, a reasonable source for some good information, let the website end in .edu. That's usually a university website. That's usually some educational website. That's how you get the .edu. And in most cases, you will find good information. In most cases, you'll find good information. I use .edu all the time. Okay? Because we're coming to a point where we're going to have to dig for the truth. It's not going, when you turn on the news in the evening, the billionaires are buying all of that space. And they're going to be telling people what to put on the news. And they're going to be tweaking the news to suit them. So you're not going to be able to get much of the truth anymore about what happened. Like today, for instance, we literally took an oil tanker ship today. The United States Navy or Coast Guard went out and took a Venezuelan oil tanker out in the ocean. A literal act of piracy because we're not at war. Okay, we've not declared war on anybody. So how you go and take somebody's oil tanker? Now the news, depending, and it's just not happened yet, but there's going to come a time when the news is going to come on and say, hey, hallelujah, we went out and took somebody's oil tanker and it's absolutely legal. And that's what you're going to be stuck with. And you're going to have to try and figure out if that's the truth. That's where we are. Okay. And I'm going to keep bringing this up on a regular basis as far as doing research. We have to get used to, we're going to have to go back to some old-fashioned shit, and that's called reading. Okay? Finding it on the old clicker is going to be scarce. Now, there's going to be some spaces like YouTube that'll probably have some of us discussing what's going on, and that'll probably be a good place for information. But we have to also understand, because a person is saying something that sounds like what we believe already, pay attention. They may be slipping some bullshit in there with it. Okay? I tell you what, I know some Republicans that will say a lot. They come out and they spit out a bit of the truth and sprinkle a nice little bit of bullshit on top. And see, that's the part that screws all of it up. Once you got garbage, you got garbage. There's an old saying, garbage in will get you garbage out. That's an old programmer's saying from my old days. Garbage in, garbage out. If you take some truth, sprinkle a little bullshit on it, and then feed it to somebody else, and they take that and run, you just fucked it up. So, that's the way it is. They don't want to give the real news. That's just crazy. No, because the real news does not put them in a good light. These people are trying to control this entire country. These people are trying to take this country over and dictate how you think, what you say. It's coming down to that. And we need to understand that really fast. We need to understand that right now. That's the direction they're trying to take this. And hopefully in 2026, we can, some of that wind of change my boy was just talking about, some of that winds of change is on the horizon. My philosophical brother, I hope I hope he's right about that. Okay. So, rather than hold y'all here for another hour, because again, I got a whole nother hour of stuff in my head right now about the direction this is going. So I'm gonna get out of here right now and let you all get out of here and have a good evening. Again, I do appreciate y'all hanging out with me as usual. I will be back Monday. Today, Wednesday? Yes, I'll be back Monday. Appreciate y'all hanging out. And I'm going to get a chance to look this new interface over that's different. Nice and clear, and it's kind of responsive. So anyway, thank you. I appreciate y'all taking y'all time out with me. I really do. Because this stuff is really important, and I'm trying to get a little bit of truth and what's going on out there. Thanks. Talk to you later. Take it easy.